right, welcome back to another edition of Music Monday from the podcast Nurture the Mind. I am your host, Cole Poots, and we have yet again another music reaction. We are getting back into Tom motherfucking MacDonald. It's been a few weeks, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 or 4, somewhere in there. Just been reviewing other shit, Earl Sweatshirt and Hardy. But before that, it was a lot of Tom MacDonald. And I see that 2 weeks ago, he put out a song, he put out a music video for The Devil is a Democrat. And this is another really short song. 2 minutes and 40 seconds. I don't think I have much to say in the intro. I've said so much about Tom MacDonald in the last however many reactions I've done of this man, so I'm just gonna let it play. You guys will hear my thoughts at the end. We'll probably go through it twice. Once with the music video, and then the second time without the music video, just the audio to try and catch more of the sound and the lyrics. I feel like I know where this song is going. I know the direction that it's going to take just in the title. The Devil is a Democrat. That is pretty self-explanatory of a title to put out there. I could be wrong. I could be misled, but now that I've been listening to Tom MacDonald quite frequently, I pretty much know what this man is about in terms of his views, his values, his belief system. So based on the title of the track, I think it's going to be fairly straightforward for all of the people that are listening. So anyways, let's get into it. Not much of an intro. Once again, it is The Devil is a Democrat is the song by Tom MacDonald, and we also got a music video to accompany us on this journey. Before we even start, man, I like the background. You got a red flag, a red and black flag. But it's like the background.
Propaganda is on every channel. They think we stupid like the truth is just too hard to handle. Put on your camo, it's a culture war and load the ammo. They want Antifa ruling everything like it's Seattle. And they want anyone who's fighting to be dead and cancel. They want rainbows in the classrooms.
That's a cool shot.
Bathrooms and white guys that hate black dudes. They want war, they don't want peace. They want fentanyl in our streets. They want borders to be weak. I swear the devil lives in California. He a politician.
Oh, the bell.
Bills that bring chaos and division. Yeah, the devil lives in California. Should be in prison. He got horns, but he tries to keep them hidden. Cause the devil is a Democrat. And we don't
Talking about Gavin Newsom?
They love America, we know it ain't that. The devil is a Democrat. And we ain't with it, we ain't switching. Y'all are tripping. I guess God just built us different. They get celebrities to do they talking. They get mansions while they cram us all into apartments. Tell us it's cool to stay in school and then make you retarded. If you ain't liberal, then they treat you like you human garbage. If you speak up, then you a target. They want their voice to an amplifier. Violence and our flag on fire. No voter ID required. They want war, they don't want peace. They want defund the police. They want you surrounded by screens. The devil lives in California. He a politician. He passing bills that bring chaos and division. Yeah, the devil lives in California.
Oh, it's building up.
He in prison. He got horns, but he tries to keep them hidden. Cause the devil is a Democrat. And we don't play that. They say that. They love America. We know it ain't that. The devil is a Democrat. And we ain't with it. We ain't switching. Y'all are tripping. I guess
little Lambo in the back.
Democrat. That's a fact. That's the truth. Look how bad that it gets when it's blue. The devil is a Democrat. That's a rap, it ain't news. And the way they treat America is proof. I swear the devil lives in California, $100 bills. He knows everyone in Hollywood and parties in the hills. Give you everything you ever wanted, plus a couple mil for your soul, and your vote is a deal. Cause the devil is a Democrat, and we don't play that. They say that, they love America, we know it ain't that. Cause the devil is a Democrat, and we ain't with it, we ain't switching. Y'all are tripping, I guess God just built us different. Cause the devil is a Democrat, and we don't play that. They say that, they love America, we know it ain't that. Cause the devil is a Democrat, and we ain't with it, we ain't switching. Y'all are tripping, I guess God just built us different.
On
the
him.
devil is a Democrat.
Man, it's even shorter than 2 minutes and 40 seconds. It's like really like 2 minutes and 30. This is all just like extra right here.
The propaganda is on every channel.
Oh, yeah, it's not done. Okay, there it is. That is the first time through with The Devil is a Democrat. And we'll definitely have to give it a second listen just so I can try and like get the lyrics and hear more of the instrumental. It sounded like really pleasant, really good beat in the background. As always, really good, immaculate flows from Tom MacDonald. But I think probably the biggest part about this song is just the subject matter. It seems like he's talking about Gavin Newsom, how the devil is a Democrat, swear something about this dude in California, is possessed or whatever. I feel like he's talking about one man, specifically Gavin Newsom, but then there's the whole label of the devil is a Democrat. Now, the only thing that I would say to Tom MacDonald, and I agree with this man, I think him and I have very similar views on politics, societal issues, cultural issues, things that are going on in our country, things that are going on around the world. But I would just be careful and cautious about a little bit of the hasty generalization. Because I don't consider myself as a conservative or a Republican. I consider myself as a moderate, somebody that sits in the middle and really tries to be unbiased towards all of these things and just look at life from a reality sense of view, a common sense, practical, constructive thinking sort of view. And so going into these last two elections, 2020, 2024, I voted for Donald Trump from that premise because I obviously thought that he was the better option and better for this country. But I think both sides of the aisle can get very toxic, and it's more so, I think, where the problem lies, and this might just be a slight disagreement that I have with Tom MacDonald, is I think it's the far right that gets really crazy, right? But I also think it's the far left. Unfortunately, when you go to those extremes, they give both of those parties a bad name, even though a majority of the people that sit in their specific parties are usually not far right or far left. They're not out there on the fringes. Usually a bulk of the party is closer to the middle of their party or closer to center. There's a lot of reasonable Democrats that are out there. There's a lot of Democrats, lifelong Democrats that ended up voting for Donald Trump because they saw how crazy shit was getting, and they're like, we got to switch, we got to go in a different direction. But that doesn't mean that they're going to say, okay, now my party is Republican conservative just because I voted for Donald Trump. And so I think that's where we got to be careful with these hasty generalizations, because it's not that the devil is a Democrat, it's the far left, it's the far right, it's those fringe parts of the movements of both parties. It's usually the minority that speaks the loudest. Remember in 2016 when Donald Trump got elected for the first time, and the left media coined the term the silent majority, almost giving props to all these people that voted for Donald Trump that basically helped him win the election, called them the silent majority because they never really spoke about their views. And that's why everybody was so surprised that Donald Trump won back in 2016, because the left-leaning media, CNN, all those talking heads, even Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, they thought that they had it in the bag, but they didn't account for how many people actually supported Donald Trump and ultimately voted him into office for his first term in 2016. So it's usually the minorities, the fringe sort of outside parts of both parties that get the loudest and then give a bad name and a bad reputation for the party as a whole. Now, again, there are some really good politicians that fit into, unfortunately, in the American system, it's you have to run under one party. Usually, if you run somewhere in the middle, usually those candidates, they don't get a whole lot of traction. So you have to be under the Democratic name or the Republican name. There are some really good Democrats out there. There are some really good Republicans out there. But there's a lot of people that hold the belief that I also hold, is there's a lot of politicians in DC that are basically one big uniparty, meaning that they play off of each other to screw over the American people. And then they sit up there and they play theater and they pretend like they hate each other. And it's like Republicans screaming at Democrats and the Democrats are fighting back against the Republicans. And all it ever does is divide the American people. And so that's why I don't choose to stick to one side of the aisle, like one party. Like I always try and come down the middle and hold an unbiased view. And even though I voted for Donald Trump 2 times, I voted for him back in 2020 and I voted for him in 2024, I'm still critical of the man. There's still some decisions that I see that he's making right now in his second term in office. And I'm like, bro, where does that move come from? That's a weird move. Like, I don't know if you guys saw, it might have been a month ago, probably over a month ago, he made a decision to not regulate the use of AI for the next 10 years. And I'm like, dude, we should regulate AI so it doesn't get out of hand and so it doesn't take, people's jobs in this country and get rid of certain careers, certain jobs, or, the entire workforce as a whole. So for me, like coming from a middle ground sort of place, it allows me to be unbiased and judge both sides very fairly, judge every candidate, every presidential candidate, whoever, I can judge them fairly. And so even though I thought Trump is the better decision, for the country moving forward for the next 4 years, there's still some questionable things that he's been doing, this second time around in office. But obviously, yeah, I think he was better than the alternative of going with Kamala Harris. I think things would be 20, 30 times worse if she would have won the election and somehow got into the office. My whole point here to try and bring this back to the base is just being careful with that statement, the devil is a Democrat. I don't necessarily think that the devil lives inside of all Democrats. It's more so the far left things that have become so pervasive and invasive in our culture from the far left movement. Those are the things that we really need to try to avoid. But there are a lot of people, there are a lot of Democrats that are actually really reasonable and easy to have a conversation with. But, that's just me looking at the title. I don't know if that's nitpicking. I mean, I'm just talking about, not an area of contention, just a point that I wanted to make that might slightly disagree with his views. But there were lyrics in there that he said that I'm like, okay, that's true. Okay, that's true. Okay, that's true. And I think this is the point in America. This is what I would really like to harp on in this video that we've lost, is that now, I don't know if it's because of social media, the phones, technology, or what, but when it comes to these political things, societal things, cultural things, now we have to be all or nothing. Now we have to, you see people in politics, they got to root for their team 100%, even though it's there's no way that you agree with everything that your party stands for. And I just wish that people tried to operate more from this lens of okay, again, I'll just use as an example, looking at Donald Trump. There's some things that he does that I really agree with and I support and I'm on board with. And probably those things outweigh the things that he's not doing or if he's not moving fast enough. That's why I voted for him. Better candidate, in my opinion. But it's like an umpire that is sitting behind the plate. Their job is to call balls and strikes. If Trump throws a strike, strikes out the fucking batter, okay, we got to strike out good, America's getting back on the board. I will support that. I will prop him up. I will elevate him. I will cheer him on. If he throws a ball, something that's way out here that I'm I don't disagree with, I will also give that fair level of criticism. And that is something that we have lost in America. You see this all the time. People that have Trump derangement syndrome. Not everybody operates this way, but a lot of people operate this way where you tell them in a conversation that you voted for Donald Trump. And they did not, and they hate the man. All of a sudden, in their mind, they have built up an image of you, and they're like, fuck this guy, fuck this girl. I don't care if we're family. I don't care if we're, in the same friend group. It's like, I don't want to be around that person. Things have gotten so divisive, and I think it is directly correlated to technology, social media, phones, screens. Like, we are so isolated now, and we fall into our thought groups and our thought bubbles, and we're on social media, and we're exposed to the things that piss us off the most. Like, if you're somebody that hates Donald Trump and you're reading these stories, we now know, and we've known for a while with our phones. Go on Netflix. Back in 2020, they dropped the documentary called The Social Dilemma. Whatever you absorb on your phone, just like on YouTube, you go watch a video, you search it, now YouTube is going to feed you more content like that, because it realizes, oh, this is what this person pays attention to. We must feed them more of that so they can stay on our app, so they can stay on our platform, because that is how the social media companies, your phone, like, that's how they make their money, is by stealing your attention. And it's like, a lot of people still have yet to figure that out. They're getting trapped into these thought bubbles. People that they're only seeing the opinions of people that agree with them. You're not seeing the discourse anymore. It's like, go out into real life and have conversations with people. You're going to see that, yeah, some people are going to hold the same opinions that you do, but there's also plenty of people out there that think differently than you when it comes to politics or whatever. But you might agree on all of these other different aspects of life. So why should we highlight the one thing that we disagree on? That is something that has multiplied in culture. People are not impartial anymore. It's like an all or a nothing mentality. And it's like, that's just not how you should judge things. I'm sorry. It's low IQ. You see a lot of things on social media. It's just trying to get people pissed off. That's a lot of the news, right? The 24/7 news cycle is not even really news anymore. It's more so political propaganda. Whether you're watching Fox News, so you're going to get the right side and their point of view, their narrative, or you're watching CNN, MSNBC, any of those left-leaning news outlets, you're going to get their agenda. You're going to get their narrative. And it just gets people hot and bothered and sweltered with fucking rage. Like, all it is rage bait. And people have yet, as a collective across society, we have yet to fully rise above this. There are some people that practice a fair level of discipline and distance away from all of that negative shit. And then there's people that just still eat it up. I got people, and I'm not going to name names, but I got people that I know in my life that I might see on a regular basis throughout the week that, like, literally, you're not even talking about politics, you're not even talking about the societal things, the cultural things, and they'll just come up to you in a conversation and start talking about that shit. And they have a sense of, like, what your view might be, and they will literally tell you why your view is wrong and why their view is right. And it's like, you think that that's a proper way to get along with people in society? Like, the arrogance and just the self-centered nature to think that your opinion is so above everybody else's opinion. And it's like, okay, so if you really hate Donald Trump and you hate Elon Musk, and they're going to come in and they're going to strip away our rights and, like, all of these things, the world is worse off with them in office. If that's your view, then why did the man win the election a second time through? There was obviously, there was a need in culture that felt like it was necessary to elect that man once again, because he won by a landslide. But I'm getting off of the point. The biggest thing that I'm trying to hammer home with this reaction, because I think it correlates to the title, and we're going to do one more listen to get a little bit of a deeper dive into lyrics, but, like, people, I know you have your opinions. I know you have your beliefs, your values, the things that you stand on. I'm not saying take that away. I think that's very important, to stand on a solid ground, and sometimes you got to dig your heels into the sand. But be more unbiased. Like, people are not recognizing their huge, insane levels of confirmation bias. And we all have that to a degree. That's fine. But healthy thing would be is to identify it and see where your confirmation bias screams the loudest and exist heavily. Call balls and strikes. Try to be as impartial as you can. And honestly, it's healthy for people to have discourse. So if you're typically talking to your circles of people that only agree with you on everything, every view that you hold, it is so helpful to talk to people that have the opposite view. If you can control your emotions and not get so upset, you can actually learn a lot from people. Y'all know my views. They're very similar. They're very, very in line, other than maybe a few things with Tom MacDonald. And so I have clients over the years with personal training. I have clients that obviously look at politics and all that stuff differently than me. And those have been some of the best conversations I've ever had. Sometimes they get a little argumentative. Sometimes they get a little bit heated, but never disrespectful, just passionate from both sides. And people shy away from having those conversations because they think it's uncomfortable. Maybe to a degree it might be a little bit uncomfortable, but it's those conversations are super important. And because of technology and everything becoming so divisive, we're not having those conversations as much. And we see the result. It's tearing us apart to the point where you look at somebody that's on the other side of the fence as you as like legitimately the enemy, like we're going through a civil war once again. Anyways, those are my initial thoughts. Tiny little rant right there. Let's go through this one more time, try and get more of the lyrics, the beat, the instrumentation, see anything else that I can pick up on. Okay, round two.
The propaganda is on every channel. They think we stupid like the truth is just too hard to handle. But on your camo, it's a culture war and load the ammo. They want Antifa ruling everything like it's Seattle. And they want anyone who's fighting to be dead and canceled. They want rainbows in the classrooms and 15 different bathrooms and white guys that hate black dudes. They want war, they don't want peace. They want fentanyl in our streets. They want borders to be weak. I swear the devil lives in California. He a politician. He passing bills that bring chaos and division. Yeah, the devil lives in California. Should be in prison. He got horns, but he tries to keep them hidden. Cause the devil is a Democrat. And we don't play that. They say that. They love America. We know it ain't that. The devil is a Democrat. And we ain't with it. We ain't switching. Y'all are tripping. I guess God just built us different. They get celebrities to do they talking. They get mansions while they cram us all into apartments. Tell us it's cool to stay in school and to make you retarded. If you ain't liberal, then they treat you like you human garbage. If you speak up, then you a target. They want their voice through an amplifier. Violence and our flag on fire. No voter ID required. They want war, they don't want peace. They want defund the police. They want you surrounded by screens. The devil lives in California. He a politician.
I love that
passing
bell.
bills that bring chaos and division. Yeah, the devil lives in California. Should be in prison. He got horns, but he tries to keep them hidden. Cause the devil is a Democrat. And we don't play that. They say that. They love America. We know it ain't that. The devil is a Democrat. And we ain't with it. We ain't switching. Y'all are tripping. I guess God just built us different. Dog, the devil is a Democrat. That's a fact. That's the truth. Look how bad that it gets when it's blue. The devil is a Democrat. That's a rap. It ain't news. And the way they treat America is proof. I swear the devil lives in California, $100 bills. He knows everyone in Hollywood and parties in the hills. Give you everything you ever wanted, plus a couple mil for your soul and your vote. It's a deal. Cause the devil is a Democrat, and we don't play that. They say that. They love America, we know it ain't that. The devil is a Democrat, and we ain't with it, we ain't switching. Y'all are tripping, I guess God just built us different. Cause the devil is a Democrat, and we don't play that. They say that. They love America, we know it ain't that. Cause the devil is a Democrat, and we ain't with it, we ain't switching. Y'all are tripping, I guess God just built us different. Dog, the devil is a Democrat.
I'm live. Gavin Newsom diss me. What the hell is that? Is that in response? Did Gavin say something in response to this song? I'll have to go watch that. He did a live, what was that, 12 days ago? So after the song was dropped?
Is definitely killing them.
I'm gonna watch that after we finish up the video here.
What is even going on in the world right now?
Anyways, That's the second time through. A little bit more catch on the lyrics. Yeah, dude, there's a lot of things that he said in there that I agree with. It's so hard to live out in California. Why would you want to live in California? I mean, it's a beautiful state, and that's what really sucks. It's one of my favorite states in terms of the beauty that exists in California. But with a guy like Gavin Newsom and the far left politics that have reigned supreme out there, it makes it almost completely unbearable. I don't know how people are doing it unless you're making a shit ton of money. And even if you're making a shit ton of money, you still have to pay a lot of money to taxes. It sucks, man. It's hard to even go out there and visit the place, like if you wanted to go on vacation. So I agree with that. I think he's really studied Gavin Newsom, because Gavin Newsom is a slimy fucking turd that fell out of the... He didn't even fall off. He like slid out, because that's how slimy he is. He's very attractive and luring to the left, to the Democratic side. Like, it looks like they're propping this man up as to be the front runner, the next candidate to run for that side for president of the United States in 2028. And when I've watched this guy speak, it's like every single time that he's about ready to tell you a lie, when there's like a bold-faced lie that he utters out of his mouth, out of his lips, after he says the lie, he will say, and that's a fact. And I think Tom has studied this man and all of his antics, because in that song, at some point, Tom is saying, and that's a fact. So I think he's mimicking and copying Gavin Newsom. Because this song is a lot about Gavin. It's a lot about Democrats, California, but then it spreads wider to like the things that they try and push into society. And again, being careful with generalizations. It's not just a Democratic thing. It's really just on the far left. It's the far left Democrats that are pushing this shit. But he's talking about, the things that they try and push into school, transgender, LGBTQ plus IA ideology. Again, there's nothing wrong with gay people. There's nothing wrong with trans people. It's the fact that in society and culture for a while now, it's been pushed so heavily down our throats, and especially in California. Something that he put in place, was it like a bill or like a law, that if kids were thinking about transitioning, they didn't necessarily have to go to their parents and get permission from their parents. They can actually bypass that and talk to their teachers, and their teachers basically serve the role as the parents. How ludicrous is that? And then number two, how ludicrous is it that like people think that it's an acceptable thing in our society to allow young kids to transition or get surgeries that impact them for the rest of their lives. It's like you can't reverse a surgery like that once you get it done. Again, if you really want to go that route, I have no problem with that. Just wait until you're old enough to make that decision when you're 18 years old. For a lot of states, you can't get tattoos until you're 18. You can't start fucking smoking cigarettes, tobacco until you're 18, right? Or is it 21 now? You can't drink alcohol until you're 21. You can't serve and enlist in the armed forces until you're 18. And then all of a sudden, if you want to cut off your dick, if you want to have the surgery, you can do it younger than that required age for certain things, where you have to be 18 or you have to be 21. It's ludicrous. It's ludicrous that we're even talking about it, that we're even debating it in our culture and society. It should just be a given, but that's how crazy things have gotten. And again, I don't think it's a Democratic thing. I think it's a far left thing. It's far left ideology. It is literally communism to a degree, maybe in some forms like fucking socialism. It doesn't work. Communism has never worked across human history. It's led to more deaths than anything else, even wars, even conflicts. Communism at its core, at its root, is fucking evil. And Gavin Newsom is a communist. A lot of those people that are slick talkers like he is, snake oil salesman, like they sound good on the surface, but literally underneath the surface, like they're trying to kill you. They're trying to ruin your life. They're trying to make it so unsustainable in our culture, in our politics, in our government, and in our economy. Those ideas don't work. Look at California. It's a shit show. It's struggling so bad. You know, I mean, in the midst of like 2020, there was the mass exodus. People started to leave and flee blue states. California is the biggest blue state in our country. And they went to places like Texas. They went to places like Florida. They went to the Midwest where it's a lot cheaper. And you see it even after the LA fires, man, just how bad they mismanaged that whole situation. A lot of that falls on the heels of Gavin Newsom. But there's a lot of things that he talked about in this song that I fully, wholeheartedly agree with. I just, once again, think that we have to be very careful with saying generalizations, because most of the time, generalizations are not true whatsoever. But yeah, the beat was good. The tempo was good. The instrumental was good. As always, like, this man knows how to flow. I don't think you can take that away from Tom MacDonald. I don't think you can deny that. Now I'm really curious. I want to go check out and see what he said about Gavin Newsom. Something Gavin Newsom did something in response to this song that he put out, because this was a live video that Tom MacDonald did 12 days ago, and it was like 2 weeks ago when the song came out. So there's probably some type of beef or some type of war that's going on that I just haven't been aware of. You know, starting to slowly inch myself away from the internet space. Not like I ever got on it too much or got on my phone too much, but I was starting a lot of my days that way, of like browsing all of the apps, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Hinge. And, you know, you waste like 30 or 40 minutes. And then for like the rest of the day, you kind of have this hook. You're addicted to like wanting to get back on there and check things out. And it's not a healthy way to live. So I miss some of these things, because I can't live on the internet, man, in 2025. Like, I know it's there. I know AI is there, and you try and use it as much as you can for it being the tool that it is. But understanding that, like, we still have a real life that surrounds us, and there's all this beauty around us that we're not paying attention to. I have realized, and it's nothing new, we've known this for a while, like the phones, technology, screens, social media, they literally turn our brains into mush, turn us into zombies, drones, and we basically don't focus on our life and try and take care of our life and mend our life to the way that it's supposed to be. And so I've just had this realization here recently. It's like, I want to decrease the amount of time that I spend on it as much as possible. You know, even if I check it like once a day, that's kind of been my game plan here recently, like at least during the work week, is like, don't check those things in the morning unless it's Snapchat, so I can like reach out to other people. But all the other ones, like, don't check it until the end of the day. And then I even extended that. Today's Monday, September 1st. But for the weekend, Sunday and Saturday, I didn't check social media unless it was Snapchat. Again, just to like respond and keep up with people. And it's, man, you get so much more done. You have so much more free time. And again, I didn't check it that much, but that's how much it impacted me. And it just, even if you're not spending a lot of time on it, it's like the times that you do check it, it completely destroys your attention span, your ability to focus and concentrate on the details of your life that need improvement. I swear to God, that's why they've pushed it so heavily into culture, is because it keeps people distracted. They literally make money when you stay on the platform. That should for all of us, that should be a massive insult and enough of a reason to say no more. We'll still have it as a tool, but we're not going to be addicted. We're not going to be a slave to this thing. These unrealistic chains that have been strapped all over us. They've been invisible the whole time, and we just didn't realize. So, you know, we just gave into it. We just allowed it to sit there and chain us down. But those are my thoughts, guys. That's the reaction. That's the review. I'm going to close this out here. As always, I ask that you do 4 things. If you came over here, if you watched the whole reaction, if you had a good time, if you enjoyed it, if it was valuable, if it was not a waste of your time, I ask that you do one of the 4 things. We do this value exchange on the channel. I bring it to you. I bring the content, I bring the energy, I bring my thoughts. I just try and dissect it all, right? And dig deeper than a lot of the reaction channels that are out there. Bless their hearts, but they are so simple to the core, so simple to the bone. That's not what we do over here. I don't know what the runtime is right now as we're recording, but I imagine it's like over 30 minutes, right? And all of my videos, I'll be like reviewing like one song, and the video will go that long because I'm talking, I'm ranting, I'm trying to tie all these things together. I'm trying to dissect and dive deeper than people are willing to do. And so for that, I think it makes my content really good and really interesting. So if you thought there was value to this, do one of the 4 things to help me grow my message, my channel, my audience. You can like the video, you can subscribe to the channel if you're not already, you can comment in the comment section below to start a dialogue, or you can share this video, this message, the podcast, the YouTube channel. You can share that via social media, or if you just have conversations with people in real life, spreading it via word of mouth. Any of those things will suffice, and I don't want you to do all 4. I just want you to do one of the 4. That would do me a solid because I came on here and I gave you a solid. So guys, that's it. It's Labor Day. Enjoy the rest of your day. Not sure when this video reaction will get out. It'll be later this week, probably at the tail end, Thursday or Friday. We'll see. Maybe it'll come out a little bit sooner, but I love you guys. I appreciate you guys for always coming over, watching, being gracious people that you are. We don't find many haters in the comments. Sometimes we do, but you know what? Fuck them. They got their own internal shit that they need to sort out. I love the supporters. I'm here for the supporters. I'm here for the real ones. The people that amplify my channel, resonate with me and are propellers in my life and not anchors that just drown me down. Thank you guys. I will see you next week on the next reaction. All right. Bye-bye.